new boiler installation in Leeds. My name's Alan Hart, and today I've got the guys from Viva Training Academy, the trainees, the trainee plumbers, the trainee gas engineers, and we're installing a new boiler it's actually in Old Woodley in Leeds. We're going to take out the old boiler. I'll show you what that's like, show you how bad it is, to be honest. So yeah, hopefully if you could, please put some comments below and let me know what you think to that. Also, we're going to install a new boiler, or the trainees will put the new boiler on the wall, and we've got a few little shocking bits in this as well, so I'll show you that as well. And then also at the end I've also got the customers' feedback, so the customers left a review for this job on Google, so you can also read that as well. I'll add that at the end. So yeah, without further ado, let's go and have a look. This video is for gas safe, registered and trainee gas engineers under supervision. Please comply with the current regulations at the time. So the current boiler is a Vokera Compact HE, fully working, no known issues with this at the moment, apart from how it's installed really. If we have a look at the pipework underneath, we can see that it's plastic pipework connected to the boiler. So obviously you need to check your installation instructions and just make sure, or have a look how far away that needs to be. Normally minimum 1 metre of copper. And if we have a look at the flow and return pipes here, they're actually resting on the back box for the electrics, so that's not very good. So we're going to need to do something about that. We'll cut that out and we'll change this. If we just bob outside and have a look at the condensate pipe, we can see it's in small pipe, and in the past it had blocked up, so a large central heating service cover provider has been out and just smashed it off. Also, if we look at the PRV, or the blow off pipe, we can see that that's not terminated correctly, so that should go back to the wall, or it should have the correct style fitting on it. And before we do anything with the boiler, we're going to do a tightness test, or the guys are going to do a tightness test, and I'm videoing them taking a picture. How are you doing there?
Absolutely great, thank you.
Should this just come out? It'll just lift off, yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to open. Just to point out, before we removed this boiler, we did all our safety checks. So we did our electrical safety checks, we isolated the cold water, and we also tested the gas. Now we've removed the old boiler, we can see the last installer didn't brick the flue hole up, so any cavity wall insulation or anything like that could be coming down and back into the property. Just cement these old holes up before we put the new boiler on. We've read the installation instructions, we've got the template out of the pack, and now we're going to install the bracket for the boiler. So we've got the bracket all levelled up, and they're now just going to lift the boiler onto the bracket. I'm just putting all new pipes underneath, repiping it all in copper and making it as neat as we can. We've changed the position of the condensate pipe internally. We've taken it down as low as we possibly can, and then we're coring a new hole, and then we're going to take it directly down into the drain. So if we core this hole here now, we can get as Condensate Pro, and as pipe snug will just fit nicely into that. So we've got as Condensate Pro on this now. So this is as condensate pipe that's got the insulation on already. What are you doing up there?
I am cementing the flue hole, as you can see.
So you're videoing Darren doing work then?
I am.
So what they're doing now, they're going to do a full power flush of the central heating system, and in my opinion this is the most important part of all the job, flushing the system and making sure clean water is going to go through your new boiler. And however you treat that after, so whether you treat it to VDI depending on the installation instructions of the boiler, or if you use inhibitor, again depending on what the manufacturers recommend. In my opinion, as always, this channel is not about promoting individual products. It's about trying to raise the standards in the industry, and every boiler brand, every chemical brand will tell you that their stuff is the best. And to be honest, most things have pluses and minuses: filters, power flush machines, boilers, etc. So I'm not going to tell you one boiler is better than another. I'm not going to tell you one chemical is better than another. On this particular job, we've got Nordstrom power flush machine. We've got what have we got? We've got Fernox chemicals that we're using. We've got Spirotech Deaerator RV2 on this. We've got a Fernox Omega filter. I'm using the new Adey Pro Check test kit afterwards to prove that we have flushed the system correctly, or we have cleaned the system correctly, should I say. One of the questions I was asked in a previous video was, do you put the muck from the system through your new boiler? And that's a little bit of a tricky question to answer, because sometimes it's the only option. What I try and do is I'll put 2 T's underneath the boiler, I'll isolate the boiler, and I'll flush the system as much as I can. We also do a mains flush normally as well before as we're taking the old boiler out. So we'll connect a pipe, speed fit pipe from Flue onto code, and then flush it out at return, or from code to return and flush it out at Flue. Just a temporary connection that you just push on, so you try and get as much of the muck out as possible. I actually spend more time flushing the system than I do installing the boiler, you know, and that's, as I say, that's the most important thing to me. So anyway, yeah, I'm babbling on. Let's go back and we'll see what they're up to. The power flush machine is now connected into the system, into the heating system. It's connected in on the main, flow and return pipes underneath the boiler, and that's just flushing through. We can also reverse that, as I've shown in other videos, so we can flush this through as good as possible. So we've done a full power flush on this system, and now I'm just doing a mains flush. I'm going to put some F1 in the system, and then I'm going to test it. I'm going to test it with my Adey Pro Check. But what I'm doing here, I'll just explain what I'm doing here. I've got the filling loop here fully open, and then I've got the valve on the filter that's isolated. So then the water from here now is going, this water here now is going into the central heating pipe here. It's going through the boiler, so it's clean, fresh water. It's going through the boiler, it's going all the way around the heating system, through the boiler, all the way through the heating system, and then back, and it's coming back to this filter here, and then this is fully open, and we're just doing a mains flush. So that's going into there. You can see water, and the water is clean, really clean. We've now set the boiler to maximum rate in service mode, and we're checking the working pressure at the boiler, and we've got 20 millibar at the gas meter, and we've got about 19.5 millibar at the boiler. So I've just got Darren now, we're going to check the emissions with Flue gas analyzer. He's got a new analyzer. What's this analyzer called?
Vola.
Vola. So I've never heard of this analyzer before.
Just zero in at the moment.
So Darren's going to check he's going to check low, he's going to check high with flue gas analyzer in service mode in boiler, which we'll show you shortly. And then he's also going to test the flue integrity as well to make sure that the flue is not mixing. So if you have a look on this, Darren, here, look. Click that mode.
Yeah.
Then scroll down to service. Click OK. Up to 100. And then click OK.
Is this high?
Yeah, so that's high now. So now you can test with flue gas analyzer. So it's going to go on high. And then we'll get his readings on there. So now, Darren, if you put it into low, go back to your mode. Yeah, scroll down back to service again. No, go back to mode. Scroll down to service. No. Is that? So mode, and then down to services flashing. And then you've got 100. Now scroll that to 20.
And okay it.
And then click OK. And now that's on low now, so we can test it on low. And then obviously that reading should change on there. So we're on low there now. And it's just going to print this out. So Darren's just going to check the flue on the air intake now, just to make sure that the flue is safe and it's not passing, it's not mixing on the flues. And we need to put it back into service mode on high in here, Darren. So if you go back into your mode, scroll back to central heating, service mode, sorry. Yeah, okay. And then back to 100. So this is 100%, so this is fan on full. Click OK, yeah. Do OK again, because I don't think it clicked then. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So now this will go into service mode on high again. And then we're just making sure we don't want any readings on this now. What are you doing in here then now?
So we finished putting the boiler on. We're just carrying out our gas rate. So when you put the burner pressure on high, you can see on here from your last 3 digits. So we're taking the first reading and then starting our timer.
Yeah.
For 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we write the first figure down.
Yeah.
And then once the 2 minutes is reached, we take off.
You see what
Put
the difference
the second
is?
figure on,
Yeah.
and then what we do is we deduct the first figure from the second,
Yeah, yeah.
and then we do a calculation to work out our gas rate.
Yeah. So this is a metric meter, isn't it?
That's the one, yeah.
And when we've worked out the gas rate on this boiler, it's about 30 kilowatts gross and about 27 kilowatts net. So I'm just draining water out of the system now. I'm just going to do a water sample. I'm just going to pour it into this bottle here. So we're still doing a mains flush on this. I've been flushing it. We've flushed it loads of times, to be honest. I'll just fill that into there, and you can see it's clean. But the most important part of a central heating job, in my opinion, is this water and how clean it is. But we're gonna do a test shortly. So I'm gonna put some inhibitor in, and then I'm gonna test it with new Adey Pro Check. But if you have a look at that water there, you can see it's absolutely spotless. It's water in system. It's like drinking water. That. Are you gonna drink that? Yeah? No, Darren?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, drink it, yeah.
Why not? Bit off for me.
Just to explain what we've actually done just then, we've done all the flushes. So we've flushed it cold, we've power flushed it, we've flushed it cold again, we've then run the boiler. So we've run the boiler round, we've got the boiler and the central heating hot, and then we've also done a hot flush as well. So it's certainly had a lot of flushing on this job. I'm just going to put some F1 inhibitor into this system now. Now, just to bear in mind, I would recommend any of the quality names of chemicals, so your Adey ones, or your Sentinel, or your Fernox. I'm not supported by any brands, and all I've done here, because I don't want to buy an express one, I've just got one of these little bottles, and I can just turn the filter upside down, and then just pour it on top there. Just be careful, just because as I say, I don't want to spend more money on the express. Just get these. These are quite cheap, these little miniature ones. So this tub were about I think it were about £8 or something like that. So really worth it. So we've put the inhibitor in the filter now. I'm going to let that circulate around the system, and then we're going to check it now with this Adey Pro Check. We'll also have a report, and we'll send that to customer, so the customer knows that when this boiler was installed, the water quality was correct, and they'll have a record of that. If we have a look inside, what we've got some test strips in here, which I'll show you how they work. We're going to take a water sample in this, and then we've just got some little strips to check against here. So we'll do that, as I say, just letting this run round now, and then we'll test it. So they're the little test strips, and we're just going to put that against there. I have done a full video on this as well. So we're now going to test the central heating water. So just put on Combi. Has it got a filter? Yes. Now you take your water sample, and once you've got that, you take a picture of your water sample. Really easy, clear or yellow. You then dip your test strip and it'll give you the results. Very easy. And that's the Viessmann boiler. So that's the boiler installation complete, and that's the Viessmann Vitodens 100, and it's got a Fernox filter, and it's got an RV2, and it's been fully power flushed. If you've got any questions about this boiler installation, please ask them below. And as always, like, comment, share. It really helps with the video. I really appreciate that if you could. So yeah, a few things really. One, I see a lot of people talking about clips not exactly lined up and all this type of stuff. Well, when you're drilling into brickwork, you're never going to always get your clips exactly in line. So you might have clips slightly out of line. Personally, we're going to put boxing in over top of clips, over top of pipes. I don't think it's an issue, myself personally. I think if you can, obviously, if it's going to be on a flat piece of ply and you can line it all up and do a really neat job, then great. But customers not going to, they're not going to want to pay for that normally. And why should they? If they don't need to? In my opinion, the most important thing of all is what's inside the pipes. So clean the system. If you've got flux and stuff on outside at pipework, then obviously clean your flux off. Polishing pipes and stuff like that, I just think is just totally pointless in my opinion. I just don't see point of it. It's going to tarnish anyway, and a lot of time customers are just going to cover it up with some boxing or microwave, or are you going to lag it, So yeah, so as I say, the most important thing of all is what's inside. Clean your pipes, clean your radiators, flush your system, as good as you can. And yeah, I hope this video has been of some use to people. And with regards to products, I just wanted to go over the product thing. Most products have their pluses, boilers, and you can fit the worst boiler, if you like, good, and it'll last a lot longer. It's got a better chance if you install it correctly. Or you can fit the best boiler, if you like, badly, and again it's not going to last very long. So choose whatever boiler you like, and install it correctly. Take pictures as well to prove that you have done what you say you've done. I go to loads of jobs where customer says, oh yeah, well it's been power flushed, and when you test it, you know, clearly it hasn't been flushed at all, or not very good anyway. Yeah, I'm totally babbling on now. I think the lads that's been out has really enjoyed what we're doing, and yeah, thanks for watching. Oh, I forgot that Google review. I'll add that now so you can just read it here. Thank you.